Hey guys, welcome to my FITSTRONGFREE channel. I'm Katerina and today I'm here to talk to you about macronutrients. So I'll go right into it. There are 3 different types of macronutrients that we eat on a daily basis. They're carbohydrates, proteins and fats. And actually I'm going to start with talking about protein today. So the main function of protein is to build and repair our bodily tissues, which are our muscles. And on top of that, protein also helps with our organ function and promotes immune health in our bodies, as well as burning fat and creating the hormones and enzymes in our bodies that we need. Protein, again, as it builds muscles, these muscles are used to support our system, so our skeletal system especially. So in order to support our bones, obviously we need good muscles to support them, and in order to grow our muscles we need the protein. So here's a fun fact: the more muscle we have in our bodies, the longer we actually live, which actually makes sense because as I said before, our muscle supports everything in our bodies. So the less muscle we have, the more our bones and other bodily systems will deteriorate. So again, protein is what we want, and we get our protein from things such as poultry, chicken, turkey, beef, fish, whey protein, high quality whey protein that is, eggs, nuts, seeds, legumes, so all these kind of food. I've put a list right here so that you can have a look at those foods. So protein is converted in our bodies to amino acids and ammonia, but we don't want to be eating too much protein, although it's great for us. Too much of this will then convert the excess amount into glucose, which will then convert into fat if we have too much glucose already stored in our cells. So too much protein equals fat. And protein is also quite difficult for our digestive system, so I would recommend not eating too much of it. What I would recommend for general all-round health is to give your body the amount of protein of 50% of your body weight in pounds. So for instance, say you weighed 150 pounds, you would be eating 75 grams of protein per day, which could equate to 25 grams per meal. So that's quite a simple way to work it out. That's for general health. However, if you want to be burning fat, if that's your goal, then you want to be eating between 0.7 to 0.75 grams of protein per pound of body weight. So again, say that was 150 pounds that you weighed, then you're going to be eating roughly 100 grams of protein in that day. And also, like, the more protein you eat, the less carbohydrates you eat, which is a better recipe for fat loss. Lastly, if your goal is to build muscle, then you want to look at a 1-to-1 ratio of grams of protein to pounds of fat. So again, taking the example of being 150 pounds, you would want to be eating approximately 150 grams of protein in your day-to-day diet. So I hope that helps you understand protein a little bit more. Let's talk about carbohydrates next, because they're quite important to understand, especially when you have certain goals in your mind, such as fat loss. So carbohydrates are directly converted as a source of energy. So we use carbohydrates for energy. They're converted into glucose in our cells, which our body uses as a primary source of energy. The problem is that many of us overeat carbohydrates and eat the wrong kinds of carbohydrates. So there are 2 different kinds of carbohydrates, pretty much, the main 2 anyway. So we've got simple carbohydrates and we have complex carbohydrates. So the simple carbohydrates are the ones that instantly release into sugar pretty much in our body. So they convert into glucose, which is sugar. And these are things such as anything at high sugar, basically. So chocolate, sweets, cakes, pastries, white bread, normally refined grains, also fruit. Fruit has fructose, which is one of the simplest forms of sugars out there. These are very quick releasing carbohydrates. They convert to energy very quickly and can also convert to fat very quickly because of the high sugar content in these carbs. So complex carbohydrates are things such as oats, whole grain, bread, rice, things such as quinoa, and other grains as well. I've got the list here for you again. So these carbohydrates release slower into your system and they convert into glucose at a slower rate, so they keep your blood sugar at a nice kind of steady level as long as you're not eating too much of them. I'm going to go more into carbohydrates in a separate video and talk about each macronutrient separately later on, but for now I just want you to understand the two different types of carbohydrates and the effects that they have on your body. So although they are the two main types of carbohydrates, there is a third type, which are carbs with fibre basically. So your body cannot actually take in that fibre, it goes straight through you, and it's used to help and aid digestion basically. So you need that fibre in your body, and fibrous carbohydrates are things such as green vegetables, also called cruciferous vegetables, such as broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower, sprouts, greens, spinach, things like that. So things that are really high in fibre, really good for you. Again, I put the list there so that you can see for yourself what kind of carbs they involve. Okay, so moving on to fats now, and I just want to talk a little bit about fats and the different types that there are. Fats are really essential for our bodies because we don't produce them ourselves. They're great for our all-round health. They support a number of our bodily functions, from our brain function to helping our joints, to just, as I said, general all-round health. So there are different types of fats. We've all heard of saturated and unsaturated fats before. Certain saturated fats are good for us, such as butter and fats we get in beef and poultry. However, they're only good for us in small doses, so we want to make sure that we're not eating too much of those kind of saturated fats. But they're not really all that bad for us. The worst kind of fats that you can come across are trans fats, and these are formed through a process called hydrogenation, which uses oil to produce all these kind of fatty foods, which are just not good for us, period. We don't want to be eating those, or just limiting them very much, because they basically increase the LDL cholesterol in our bodies, which is a bad cholesterol, and they decrease the HDL cholesterol in our bodies, which increases the risk of things such as cardiovascular disease, which we don't want. So let's talk about the healthier kinds of fats, which are monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats. So these are the kind of fats that give us omega-3 and omega-6, and we want to have these in a right balance. So we can get these kind of fats from things such as oily fish, avocados, eggs, coconut oil, olive oil, nuts and seeds. So again, there's a list for you there on the good fats that you want to be eating on a day-to-day basis for all-round health. So last of all, just want to talk about the effects of fats on our blood sugar levels. So as I mentioned before when talking about carbs, there are certain carbs that release into sugar very quickly and convert into sugar very quickly in your body. However, with fats and healthy fats, they tend to be very low in sugar, so they're really good when wanting to fight cravings and burn fat, because if you eat the right amount of these fats, they're going to keep your blood sugars nice and stable, they're going to keep you nice and full for longer. They again reduce your cravings, as I just mentioned, and help support your body in all these different functions and systems that it has. So I hope that helps, and I hope that helps you to understand a little bit more about protein, carbs and fats, and what you're putting into your bodies. And basically I just want to make people aware of the different types, because I really feel like these days most of us are just so confused and we're bogged down with so much information on what to eat and when to eat and different types of things to eat, and it's just like, we just got to keep it simple at the end of the day. You just got to eat real food with proper nutrients in your diet. Your skin will thank you for it. Your body from the inside out basically will thank you for giving it all this amazing nutrients and goodness. So I hope that helps once again. So for more information on how to be fit, strong and free, then head over to my website FITSTRONGFREE.com. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'll be putting out loads more videos in the near future, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you.